Previously, on the last Pokémon FireRed challenge run. This is Giovanni. He's a bit crap. And coming up, that's over half our money you've just nicked, mate. I hope it was worth it for you. Welcome back to another FireRed challenge. We're getting back into the swing of things here in Generation 3, and we're continuing on with the theme of Water-type Pokemon actually today. The first ever Pokemon we ran together here in FireRed was Sharpedo. I got an absolutely terrible time on stream with it just under 3 years ago, so I want redemption. And we'll start by taking a look at our stats. We are level 5 with a hardy nature. We've got 23 HP, 18 attack, 10 defense, 16 special attack, 10 special defense, and 10 special defense and 16 speed. Our moves are Bite, Leer, Rage, and Focus Energy. And now this is a bit of an awkward transition. I fiddled with the overlay. Since I recorded the intro, we've made things bigger, so look, the screen is now larger. Let's get the graphics up. And now with everything in place, we can get the challenge underway. We are going to have a fun time regardless with Sharpedo, and if there is one thing we know about Sharpedo, it is very much a glass cannon. We've got fairly decent attack and special attack, we've got good speed, but we cannot take a hit to save our life. So we really are going to have to focus on all-out offense in this particular challenge. Now, because the rules of the challenge have changed ever so slightly from when we did our first FireRed challenge, I'm going to hope that we have a much better time. We struggled a lot through the Pokemon League on stream a few years ago, but now that we can use rare candies wherever we like, I'm hoping that we'll have a much easier time of it. The rest of the challenge up until that point, I believe, will be fairly smooth. Now, we don't learn a water move via level up, which is a little bit annoying. However, in this game, we don't have to wait too long until we get a water-type TM. In fact, we only have to get our second badge. And we're going to have a bit of a leg up over Misty, because she loves the Psychic-type moves. She loves having the Psychic-type with her Starmie and with a Dark-type, so we are completely immune. I think that's also going to make Sabrina a little bit of a joke as well, I've got to be honest. Now, as we start making our way up, I am going to do the full catching again to make sure that we get Flash. I'm not going to be learning any kind of Gen 3 Rock Tunnel in the dark for now, and that reminds me, I need to grab my balls before I can go and catch. So let's get 5 of those balls. That will then mean we have 10 Pokeballs for 10 Pokemon to get the Flash HM. And now as we're making our way through the forest and taking on a few more trainers than I probably will if I did this challenge later on after I'm more experienced in FireRed, I've still not quite developed that gut instinct when it comes to things like damage amounts from the opponents. So I'm playing this one a little bit safer than I probably should, but I'm sure it'll still end up working out for us in the end. Now we have made our way through the forest. We'll go and do a very quick heal in the Pokemon Center for PP purposes, and we'll make our way in to gym number 1. This is Brock's Rock-type gym. We are going to take on Campbellium and his Geodude as well today, because those Pokemon have a very low special defense. We can two-shot this Sandshrew as well, and with that, we will move on to Brock. He is our first gym leader together today. He is a Rock-type specialist, and he leads with Geodude. Geodude goes for Defense Curl, so that's a very easy start. Onto the Onix we go, we flinch it, we two-shot, and we get our first badge in a time of 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Not bad going at all. Let's get out of here. I'll do a little bit more catching of Pokemon we need, and we can think about making our way towards Mount Moon. And now with the next set of filler caught and the running shoes obtained from Professor Oak's aid, we can now progress towards Mount Moon. Hopefully we'll have an easy time on the way up here. I'm terrified of getting hit by anything, I've got to be honest. I'm also a little bit annoyed that we only have one real attacking move. Rage isn't going to be doing too much for us at all throughout the course of this challenge, so that does mean we are going to be running out of PP very quick and very, very rapidly when we make our way through places like Mount Moon, and that could end up slowing us down a little bit because we might need to do a quick little PP heal if it gets to be that bad. Before going into Mount Moon, we are going to look for a Spearow here. Spearow's going to be our first HM friend. There we go, a male Spearow on this particular occasion. Let's see, it's not first ball this time, so we're going to have to do the grind. Haven't been able to code guaranteed balls yet. To be fair, it's only been a couple of days since I recorded the last FireRed challenge, so I've not had the time. We will call our Spearow Kenya, as we always do. So this is where the HM friends are living from now on. They've moved out of Generation 2, and they are into Generation 3. Let us do a very quick heal here in the Pokemon Center. We'll pick up that berry of some use, which I can never ever remember. And now it's time to go through Mount Moon. Once again, like in the last challenge, we're going to keep the repel off until we find a Paris. And then once we've got a Paris, we'll be able to repel the rest of the way through. Thank goodness that Oddish used Sweet Scent there. I wonder what caused her AI to do that. That's something I'm going to have to learn, actually, is the AI in this game. I don't know what triggers each move to be chosen. Generation 2's AI is very, very, very simple. I understand what the most likely move is to be at any particular time in Generation 2, but there is always some element of chance. Now, I do believe that in Generation 3, the element of chance is much, much lower, but I need to learn to be able to predict what move is coming out when. We have a Paris now, so we'll pause the timer to try and catch this, and then we will clear out those resets again. You may have noticed the resets got up to like 49 earlier. That's how long it took me to try and pad out the decks. We have a Paris now, we'll get the resets back to 0, and we will cheat a little bit because I forgot to put the repel on before moving off. But with the repel issue all fixed now, we've got just one Team Rocket Grunt to deal with before we can get out of here once and for all. I like having Rough Skin because it does soften up any opponents that dare to get a hit on us, so that might help with the ranges. Sometimes in this game, I think something's going to be a 2-shot, and then it ends up being a 3-shot, so maybe now, because we do have that Rough Skin, I'll be able to more accurately predict the 2 shots versus the 3 shots. Getting poisoned here is more of an irritant than anything else. We do have a Scamtidote in the bag, so we will use that on our Sharpedo. And we were in front of the right-hand fossil this time, so that is the one we are picking. I like that they leave an antidote there. It's almost as if they expect people to get poisoned by that battle. So it does feel like Game Freak's way of saying to the players, yeah, it's a bit of a slog to get through here at the start of the game. We will give you this one for free so you don't get sent all the way back to either Pewter City or the Mount Moon Pokemon Center. I think today as well, we're going to go straight into Misty's gym first and foremost. We have the water type, so we should be resisting most of Misty's moves, and it will also give us a chance to get another attacking move before we move on to the rival battle. So she leads with Staryu, we flinch to Staryu, and we knock it out in 2. Here comes Starmie. Swift's going to hit fairly hard with a critical hit, but we survive very, very easily. Up to level 19 we go, and we get the Cascade Badge in a time of 9 minutes and 52 seconds. That means we can do another quick little heal here in the Pokemon Center, and we can prep ourselves for rival number 2. Before we do that, we are going to teach Water Pulse to our Sharpedo. Even though we are mostly a physical attacker, 95 in special attack is genuinely fantastic. We've run a lot of Pokemon who have far, far lower special attack than that, and they've got great times. Now, let's start off with a bite against the Pidgeotto. We'll do 2 shots to knock it out, but we have been sand attacked. We'll continue nibbling against the Bulbasaur, and thank goodness Sleep Powder missed. And then I think we'll give Water Pulse a test out against the Rat. And it's a 1-shot now to finish us off as the Abra goes down, and we defeat the rival in about 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's now move on to catch Abra. Now once again, to catch our Abra, the timer is going to be paused. That levels the playing field for all of the Pokemon, so we're not relying on any kind of element of RNG when it comes to A, finding the encounter, and B, then catching the blooming thing. Especially with a Pokemon like Abra, we can't just keep on standing around, throwing our balls at it and hoping that it catches. Talk of the devil and he shall appear. Let us now catch this Abra, and it is a first ball catch this time. And so that means we can start making our way across what I will always still think of as Nugget Bridge, but it is just Route 25 in this game. It's chock full of even more trainers than we are used to in Generation 2. And it's already very, very busy in Generation 2. So we've got a lot of trainers who we can gain a lot of valuable experience points from. Here is youngster Joey. He's moved on from his station on route number 30. He now lives here on Route 25, so he's either been promoted or demoted, depending on how you want to count the route numbers. Learning Crunch off him is fantastic. We are going to be running double Dark type moves just at the moment to give ourselves as much PP as possible. I am thinking for Rock Tunnel, we are probably going to need 4 attacking moves to make sure that we don't run out of power points. I did a Zangoose challenge which never got released because midway through Rock Tunnel I ended up running out of PP and it just made the entire rest of that challenge completely fall apart. So now I am very much factoring in high PP usage in Rock Tunnel into the routing. The trouble with a Pokemon like Zangoose actually in this generation is you have a lot more rock types than you would normally see in Generation 2. Just doesn't come through in this game. While we're in the neighbourhood, we did pick up the Secret Power TM. That's going to replace Focus Energy. I think Focus Energy is one of the worst moves in the entire game. I appreciate it is in a much better working state than it was in Generation 1, where I believe it accidentally lowers your crit rate, but I still don't like relying on it. There have been a few times where I've thought in Generation 2 that it would be the answer to Red Snorlax, but in the end, it's never ever worth it. Let us now teach Secret Power to our Sharpedo in place of that awful Focus Energy move. And then before making our way to Vermilion City, we are going to do another quick heal here in the Pokemon Center. That will hopefully be the last heal we need to do before we get on the boat. But you never know, we might end up being screwed over a little bit by the RNG. I'm going to try and avoid that Butterfree trainer in this challenge. Once bitten, twice shy, as the saying goes. And I definitely don't want to be caught unstuck like we did last time, where we ended up getting bloomin' paralysed. So now we're going to go through the underground path. Very, very long path compared to the ones in Generation 2. And, oh, I thought you could bypass trainers doing that. Does this Butterfree trainer have max vision? No, he does not. So we just have the pair of Picnica mandatories here. So Isabelle has a set of birds. I'm going to assume that if we're slow, all of these can stand attack us and ruin our day. What do you have? I can't remember. You've got more birds. You are very good trainers in my eyes. If you're running birds and rats, you can be my friend for life. Let's get rid of the Spearow and the Raticate now, though. And before we forget, we are going to go into the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club, where we can't talk to him from behind, so we'll talk to him from the side, and he gives us a bike voucher. Normally I'd whinge about something like that in place of a rare candy, but I kind of like the idea of moving very, very quickly. Let's stock up on some more repels here. We'll get a couple of heals while we're at it. And now we've got to get ourselves on to the boat. Should we see if I get lost on this particular trip on the boat? Right, so that is where we go for the rival battle, but we do want to pick up the berries first. So we've got a Pecha Berry, we've got a Cherry Berry, and we've also got a Chesto Berry. And from there we go up these stairs here, and we move over to here. We drop a save, and it is time for rival number 3. This time he's going to lead with Pidgeotto. We will have a nibble on the Pidgeotto, and we'll knock it out in 1. We'll keep on nibbling this time against the Ivysaur. Vine Whip does a lot of damage there, but we should be able to one-shot both of his remaining Pokemon. We say goodbye to the Raticates, we say goodbye to the Kadabra, and now we'll have a little chat with this captain who's feeling very, very seasick, which makes me wonder, why on earth are you the captain of a boat if you get seasick? That, to me, does not make sense. Now, which one of these cabins is ours? Is it this one? Yes, it is. We'll take advantage of her and have a little heal. And now we can say goodbye to the boat for another challenge. And hope to goodness we didn't forget anything important in there. We do now need to go and teach cut to our Paris. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get into Lieutenant Surge's gym. Just like that. And we will then get lost in menu purgatory. Let's pause the timer for this bin puzzle. Call me psychic, but I think this bin here contains the second lock. Let's open up the way to Lieutenant Surge. We do have to get through a Pikachu en route, but Pikachu is very, very weak, so it goes down to a single Water Pulse, and now we can take on Surge himself. He is our third gym leader together today, an electric type specialist led with Voltorb that went down. Pikachu goes down as well, and we are on to Raichu. We confuse the Raichu, but we do get paralyzed. He uses a full heal, and now he is double teaming, and a critical hit knocks us out. I think we're on to a winner on this one. We've just got to get a little bit luckier than we did then. We know we're only really fighting this Raichu here, and it's just going to be about breaking through the RNG, which is exactly what we've done now. So Surge is defeated, we can tell him where to go, and we obtain our next badge in just shy of 19 minutes. And now we need to make our way through Diglett's cave in order to chat with Professor Elm's aide. I think he lives... Professor Oak's aide rather. Professor Elm doesn't exist yet. He lives just in this gate here. We get ourselves flashed so that we don't have to do Rock Tunnel in the dark. And while we're here, we'll pick up the ether. Now, we are in a very, very, very bad way with our HP at the moment. So let's teleport all the way back to Cerulean City. We can finally go back into a Pokemon Center. And we will pick up the bicycle at the same time. So that means we can now move in double fast speed, and I'm feeling very relieved about that because I'm always better on the bike than I am with any other kind of movement. I caught a Diglett, by the way, because I forgot to catch an extra Pokemon en route to going to Flash. I don't actually know if this Diglett has Dig already built into it. If it does, I might keep it in the party because that's going to save a little bit of time versus fiddling about in the TM case so that we can teach Dig to Paris. I had a quick check in the party menu and the answer is yes. So today we are running a bonus HM friend as well in the form of Diglett. Now I wonder just how many times I'm going to forget that it's Diglett that has Dig and not Paris, so I'll end up losing time overall. The theory is solid for what I'm going with that Diglett in the party, but the execution might not be. Now we are in my least favourite place in all of Blooming Kanto. I really, really do not like Rock Tunnel. I think it is far too long, it is far too windy, it is a terrible excuse for a dungeon, but we need to get through it. Actually, come to think about it, I lie like a rug. There's one more place that I dislike even more in Kanto than Rock Tunnel. And I think I mentioned it in the last video here in FireRed. It's that pointless corner in the bottom right of Kanto between Fuchsia City and Lavender Town where you have a big load of absolutely nothing. You've got 3 routes with no real purpose to them, so they are just there to fill out space and fill out route numbers. Disregarding challenge run settings for these, you've got absolutely no reason to go there for unique encounters, because you can just go to the grass east of Fuchsia. You've got no reason to go for levels there, because all of the trainers are very, very mediocre. And there's no other landmark, because even the Super Odd House is fairly close to Lavender Town. So I do think that is the one bit of Kanto that I would say is very, very poorly designed in a region that I'm actually quite fond of usually. Do you want to know how unappealing this place is to me? I've just done my tax returns for the year so that I could have a little break before going through Rock Tunnel. Remember, if you are in the United Kingdom, today is the 31st of January. If you're self-employed, you need to get your tax return out before midnight, otherwise they're going to shout at you, and that would be bad. So call that a little public service announcement. I am completely lost in Rock Tunnel as well at the moment, so I've got to be honest. I kind of started going through, did my tax returns, and didn't really pay attention to where I was, but it seems like I've lucked my way to the correct end of this place. As far as I can remember, Dana here is the final trainer that we have to deal with in the Rock Tunnel. Let's have a little nibble on this Oddish. And what's the last Pokemon? A Pidgey. That's absolutely fine as well. We are now officially out of here. Goodness me, that movement was terrible. We'll pick up another one of these fantastically whimsical Gen 3 berries that we'll probably never get round to using. And we are now in Lavender Town, where after a very, very quick heal in the Pokemon Center, it's into the Lavender Tower we go, where we have another rival battle on our hands. This time he is going to still lead with Pidgeotto. He uses Quick Attack, that at least means we're not on lowered accuracy for this battle. We will crunch the Ivysaur and we end up falling asleep. Another reset there. Again, I don't think that one really was avoidable. We'll just have to try again. At least he's not going for Sand Attack in this particular challenge. There we go. Sleep Powder has missed. He's got a Gyarados now, of all things. Let's have a little nibble of this as well. The Rough Skin coming into play there, making sure it was definitely a two-shot. Double Intimidates when you're on a water type. That's kind of mean, but we will play around it because we are mostly using, in fact, we're exclusively using our special moves in this challenge at the moment. And we defeat the rival and we can leave and make our way over to Celadon. Here in Celadon, we're going to get blocked by a Nidoran, but we will get the T so that we can get through to Saffron a little bit later on. And I can't think of anything we need in the department store, so instead we'll go straight over to get ourselves the Fly HM from the lady living here in the little secrets house. We're not going to be able to use Fly until we defeat Erica, which could be a problem because of how low our defenses are, but we might still give her a go after we have completed the pesky Team Rocket section of this challenge. I do want to try and get Ice Beam at some point in this one as well, so we will go and grab the coin case, and now it is into the game corner, where we're not going to be doing any gambling, but we're first of all going to use this as an excuse to check our money. Nowhere near Ice Beam yet, which is a little bit gutting, but we will start investing some coins for our Ice Beam TM later on, and now we can deal with Team Rocket. We've just picked up the Snatch TM as we're making our way through here, and I've realised I've not a bloody clue what Snatch does. I didn't even realise it was a TM in Generation 3. I've never paid attention to it before. That is definitely not a move we see in Generation 2, so it's very, very confusing to me. Going to pick up some of the less useful items in here. Unfortunately, that's a Moonstone, so we can't sell it. But the reason I'm picking all of these up is to try and get a lot of fodder to sell for the old cash money moolah, so that we can, in fact, buy Ice Beam a little bit sooner. Now, we need to get on to B4F now, which is a very awkward way of phrasing that it's the fourth basement floor when you think about it for too long. I suppose the lesson there is you don't think about it for too long. We've got two grunts of varying capacity to get through before we have the main event in here. That's number one down. Here comes number two. I really don't like Intimidate as an ability. Even when we're running our special attacks, it slows everything down. Now, Slash and Secret Power have the same power, but Slash is a high crit move, so we will use that for a little bit at least. We've been poisoned by a bloody Arbok here, so that does mean we're going to have to use our other antidote before we take on Giovanni. He is a little bit rubbish, isn't he? I say it every time, sometimes a little bit blunter than that, But we've got a water type. What's he going to do? We one-shot his Onyx. Goodbye, Rhyhorn as well. Hello, Kangaskhan. You're probably the least embarrassing of all of his Pokemon, but your AI is terrible, and we're through. I thought he had more than that. That was a bit disappointing, wasn't it? But at least we get the Silph Scope. Let's get out of here. We can't be bothered with any kind of ambush. And now I've got to choose whether we risk taking on Erica next. We are, as we say here in the United Kingdom, going to risk it for a biscuit. This is Erica. She's a grass-type specialist. She leads with Victory Bell. Sunspore has missed and she's already healing looping. Looks like it was a range on the Victory Bell. Here comes the Tangler. It goes down in one, so we only have Vileplume left to go. We have been paralysed, but as long as we can hit, we will get through. Goodness me. That was a little bit annoying there. I'm wondering, if fully paralysed chances are higher in Gen 3 than they are in Gen 2. Because it feels like we're getting screwed over an awful lot more. How much does Slash do against this Victory Bell? A crit knocks it out, and that's very good to know. We have to crunch against the Tangler, that is definitely certain. And let's try a Slash against the Vileplume. If we connect, I think we get the win. It's as simple as that. She is healing now, and we've been fully paralysed yet again. We probably have a berry, actually, for this, don't we? We aren't thin on the ground with berries in this game, unlike in Generation 2. So we can use a cherry berry, whatever one of those is, and we'll try once more. We are going to be doing a lot of trial and error, at least in the beginning here in Generation 3, while I am finding my feet. So I'm not going for perfect times. I am going for trying to figure out what is the best strategy at any given moment here in Gen 3. Now, she's getting very, very lucky with the old stun spores here. That's particularly frustrating. But as long as we can get a crit, or she just misses, because stun spore isn't 100% accurate, we will be in with a chance of getting through this battle. There we go. She's missed one again at long bloomin' last. We know that we're only battling two Pokemon. The Tangle is irrelevant. Let's not use Water Pulse. Let's use Crunch on this thing. We get the Spadef drop. The Cherry Berry heals us. And we get through Erica. Goodness me, that was a little bit harder than it probably should have been. Needed to engage the old grey matter there, but we did eventually get through. Time of 35 minutes and a second. And now there is a little bit of backtracking we need to do here in the challenge now, as we're back in the Lavender Tower. Once again, I'm going to pick up all of the miscellaneous items so that we can try and scrape enough money for Ice Beam. I do like this area here because it does give us the chance to get a free heal, and we'll take the shortcut up to the top floor. All of these channelers, though, are probably a good idea to take on if we need experience later, because they all have the ghost type, and we are super effective against the ghost type. So these are very, very easy KOs. And we've made it to the tippy top of the tower, where we will reveal that it was a Marowak all along. Goodness me, we will knock it out in one single hit. We've got some Team Rocket shenanigans to be getting on with to keep us going through this challenge. It fills the time, doesn't it? And now actually, while we're taking on the Rockets, I was scrolling through my social media earlier today before I recorded this challenge, and XP Crafted from the Hermitcraft server ended up in my social media feed, and he posted a screenshot of a comment on one of his videos where, to break it down, the person was saying they're new there and appreciate what he's doing, but they don't think that XP's found his voice or confidence and needs to become a character in order to grow. And XP's response spoke to me on a very deeply personal level, because his response was just, I'm locked in on being myself, and no matter how flawed someone else thinks I am, the person you see in the video is me. It's the same person you would see in person. I like me, I will continue being me. To which the caption was, be you, believe in you, love you. And that really did just resonate so much with me, because I struggle with my confidence. I have tried putting on the character before here on the channel with the whole sports commentary stuff, and I am very glad that I don't do that anymore, because I feel like myself again, and I feel like I'm here, warts and all. I might not have the smoothest live commentary, I might not have the cleanest gameplay, but what you see is what you get. The only difference is I don't F blind quite as much in these videos as I do in real life. I've got a right old potty mouth, I've got to be honest, in real life. As any of my friends will tell you, it's actually a genuine surprise that I'm able to moderate my language quite as well as I do in these challenges. And so now it is time to wake up the bear and take our trip down Cycling Road. We're not even going to attempt to knock it out in this challenge. And I think it's such a scam that you can't get the leftovers just by defeating the bear. You have to get the item finder, and there's not a cat in hell's chance that I am going to do 50 catches just for the off chance of surviving a battle with the leftovers. Now I know there's a max elixir here as well, so we'll pick that up. And we are in Fuchsia City. I have spent as much money as I can before getting into Fuchsia so that we can try and not get scammed here in the Safari Zone, because I do not want to spend my money. It looks like I'm getting scammed regardless. That's over half our money you've just nicked, mate. I hope it was worth it for you. And so here in the Safari Zone, we do need to get the gold teeth so that the Warden of the Safari Zone can speak. We'll get the double team TM just in case we get desperate later, and we will also go and grab ourselves Surf. Surf is going to be a very, very useful move for us. It's going to be our main attacking move. And you know what? Why don't we test Surf out in our next gym together? I am very happy that there are a lot of Psychic-type Pokemon here in this gym. It should hopefully make our life a little bit easier compared to other times when we've been in this gym, woefully underprepared for the Psychic type because we think we're going to be facing the bloomin' Poison type. How much do we do against Kadabra? Perfect. That makes me think we're going to have a very nice Sabrina battle in a few moments' time. Now, I still can't really see the walls here. I know people say that walls do exist and you can see them in this gym if you look hard enough, but genuinely I cannot make them out. I am looking so hard at my screen and I know they're there, I just cannot see them for looking at them. So I am very much feeling my way around this gym every single time, and I'm not getting very far, am I? Right, we should probably stick on a berry for this battle, shouldn't we? What berries do we have? Hopefully we've got some kind of poison cure berry. What would that be under? A Pecha berry, in case you're wondering what it's called in this generation like me. Let's take on Koga now, poison type specialist, going to lead with coughing. We'll swap Surf into top slot and we knock it out in one. Up second is Muck. Now Muck is fairly bulky, so we're going to go for a couple of slashes on it and we knock it out. We've got another coughing next, we can use Surf against that, and we are on to Wheezing. Surf does a fair amount of damage, but we get crit. We are getting really unlucky with the critical hits in this one so far, at least against us. The AI is getting fairly lucky. Let us use a combination of Surf and Slash against this Muck. He's healing looping, but we can't really do too much damage against it. This is the most annoying Pokemon for him to be healing, because it's another crit. Never mind. Let's try again. We are very cursed with our luck so far with Sharpedo, so we're running probably about a minute or two slower than we could have been with some slightly better luck. We're at least through the Muck again this time. We'll Surf on this coughing and we're back on to the Wheezing. Toxic means absolutely nothing. We can two-shot it and we defeat Koga and get ourselves the next badge in a time of 45 minutes and 47 seconds. Let's now try and get out of here. Could be here all week. I think this warrants a trip over to Cinnabar Island. Here on Cinnabar, our first destination is going to be the Pokemon Mansion. There's not actually too much for us to do in here, and I always get lost on this first floor. This place felt an awful lot bigger the first time I played through it than it actually is, because there isn't too much you need to do. You just need to press that switch there and then go down here and you're pretty much done already, because this is the only floor that matters for our purposes. We'll take on this one burglar as well, because he does have a fire type Pokemon, so that is just free experience points. He has 2 fire types, in fact, even more free experience. We'll press this switch. I think the repel wore off at the same time. It did. And is there anything over here? A full restore saves us buying one in the league a little bit later on. Make sure we're not in alignment with that scientist there. Another repel goes on. We will be getting max repels in just a moment. We'll get Blizzard so that we can sell it for some money later. Secret key and Solar Beam TM also to sell for money. There we go. The mansion is complete in what, about a minute for that mansion? It's not very long there at all, really, once you know your way around. And now we can enter into the gym. And now I've decided to do full trainers in this gym. We have the type advantage over them and they're all one-shots, so it seemed to make sense to me. We've just got this last burglar to get through as we grow to level 42. Oh no, we don't. We have another one. Didn't see him here. This is Zach. He's a bonus trainer in this video. He starts with a Growlithe and he's got a Vulpix. Very easy. Let's get through him. And now let's take on Blaine. He is our 6th gym leader together today. A fire type specialist leads with Growlithe rather. Growlithe goes down in 1, so does Ponyta. And here comes Rapidash. So one shot with a critical hit. Finally a crit in our favour. And that moves us on to Arcanine. It's going to be a 2-shot Fire Blast. Does a lot of damage, but nowhere near enough to knock us out. Blaine is healing looping. It's all over for him. We grow to 43. We decline the option to learn Swagger. And we have defeated Blaine in a time of 51:24. After Blaine comes a journey to the centre of the map. We'll share the tea with the guards and we'll make our way into Saffron. And before taking on Silphco, we are going to try and find the Pokemon hidden in this town. We're going to sell all the crap that we don't need, and we are going to then buy as many max repels as we can get our hands on. I did get the Ice Beam TM as well. We finally had enough money for that. So now we do have the option to pivot to that for any of those pesky grass types that may come up. 55 max repels, that'll see us fit for the rest of the challenge. Feeling a lot better about maybe doing some accidental extra movement now. And now we've got to get into bloody Silphco. Now there are a lot of skills that I'm definitely lacking. But one skill I seem to have in abundance is being able to memorize my way through dungeons and large areas like this. After only doing it once or twice, I didn't have to look up a guide for Silphco on this particular occasion. I just seem to remember it all off the top of my head, so I'm feeling fairly proud of myself for that. We do have this mandatory to get through, though, before we take on the rival. I think this rival might be a little bit luck dependent. A Hyper Potion could come in handy for after him. So let's now take him on. This is the penultimate rival battle, and he leads with Pidgeot. How much does Ice Beam do in 1 shot? Brilliant. That makes me feel a little bit more relaxed. We do over half on the Venusaur, but once again, Sleep Powder has hit. What the rival doesn't have in Generation 2 is a very good status move. He's only got Thunder Wave on his Magnemite, if you count that as a status condition. This rival, on the other hand, when he's got the Venusaur, can really ruin your day, can't he? We might end up having to play for the freeze here, unless we get very, very lucky. Oh, we can't even play for the freeze. We are getting so screwed over by the RNG. It's actually getting a bit funny at this point. It's like everything that could go wrong with the RNG is going wrong. Critical hits for days with the Razor Leaf. Instant defrosts. We are struggling. And it's not like we can really go anywhere else for levels at this point in the challenge. We just need to get through the Venusaur. If we can get through the Venusaur, we'll be absolutely fine. This is the only Pokemon that is a problem for us. Poison Powder will deal with it. I will use a Scamterdote a little bit later on. Oh god, we've got a Gyarados. I forgot about that. Hopefully we can two-shot this thing and survive it. Who do we have next? Growlithe. We can surf on this. I did forget that in Gen 3, Poison still afflicts you, regardless of whether you knock out or not. Thank goodness for that, though. We are through the rival. We don't have to worry about this one again, but that is not a good omen for things to come. We will use a full restore in the end there. That wasn't a full restore. What on earth did I use? I used a max elixir. That would have been devastating if I didn't notice. We need that max elixir for in the Pokemon League, otherwise we'll run out of PP. Now we're going to get Psyduck here. Psyduck will be helping us out with Surf and Strength in just a little while in Victory Road. And now we can go up to the very top of Silphco, where we have another pointless grunt to take care of. And then we've got our second battle with Giovanni. And once again, it's going to be an easy affair. We have Surf. He's mostly a ground-type trainer, so we will know exactly what is about to happen. He leads with Nidorino. We'll use Surf. It goes down in 1. He sends out his Nidoqueen. It also goes down in 1. He tries with his Kangaskhan. We'll use a Surf, and then we'll finish it off with a Crunch. And then that leaves 1 Surf left for Rhyhorn. It's quad super effective, and we say thank you, Giovanni, for a very easy battle. And we will enter straight into our next gym together. There's no sense in healing for Sabrina, I don't think, because we should have a very easy time of it. She's a Psychic type specialist, leads with Kadabra. We'll put Crunch in top spot, and with any luck, we shall sweep. The Venomoth might end up being a two-shot as it tries to drink us here. She's healing looping though, so we are in the clear. They have a lot more healing items in Gen 3, don't they? As opposed to Generation 2. We say goodbye to Mr. Mime. She's only got Alakazam left to go. It's a one-shot. It is a clean sweep of Sabrina. And we get her badge in 58 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's get out of here now and go straight to Viridian City, where we'll face our final gym leader. I don't know if it's just because I'm used to Generation 2 where we have 16 badges, but the end game in FireRed really does sneak up on you, doesn't it? We felt like we were in the mid-game for a very long time, because I classed the mid-game after Surge, up until we take on Sabrina, and now we're suddenly getting our final gym badge, and I'm thinking about the Pokemon League. It really does throw me, actually, with the pacing in this one. It's kind of the same in Emerald, but Emerald is an infinitely longer game than FireRed, so we can kind of let it off there. Let us now get through this last trainer before we get our final gym badge. I do like how the type matchups here in Kanto are a little bit optional. You don't necessarily have to be a specialist in the same type as the gym to become a gym trainer in here. It does make a nice change of pace from Johto, where it's very much filled with trainers of the same type of Pokemon. We'll do our little shortcut here and take on just 2 trainers. And oh look, it's him. We knew he was coming the entire time. It's Giovanni. We have Surf. This will be easy. We one-shot the Rhyhorn, we one-shot the Nidoqueen, and we are going to one-shot the Nidoking as well. We grow up to 48, we say no to Skull Bash, it's an absolutely terrible move, and we will one-shot the Dugtrio and his second Rhyhorn. Thank you, Giovanni, for a very, very quick and easy battle. Time of 1 hour and 46 seconds for the Earth Badge. And so, having 8 badges brings us on to the final rival battle. We're going to make use of our Max Repels here, so that we don't have to worry about any encounters, and we'll see how we fare. This one could be another one where we have to roll the dice. We shall have to see how we get on. We freeze the Pidgeot and it actually stays frozen solid. That's a better start to the battle than we've had before. Sweet Scent is fairly meaningless, and we crit. Is our luck changing, I wonder? It's hard to get much worse than it was in parts of this challenge earlier. Now, what should we do with the Drunken Sailor? No, what should we do with this Gyarados? we will take advantage of the rain. We get hit with a crit. Maybe the RNG isn't changing after all, but we should now have a very easy end to the battle because we can surf the Growlithe, and we should probably surf the Alakazam, seeing as the sun is up. Maybe not. We will crunch it. He didn't heal, and we have finished. There we go, through the rival battle, and we can make our way in to Victory Road. Now, going back to what we were talking about with the pacing of this game, even though we're on a roughly same amount of time for this challenge as we would be in a Generation 2 challenge, because we don't have the Pokemon League in the sort of almost middle of the game, I find this one feels longer mentally than Generation 2, which is very, very weird, because we're not actually doing much more, if anything more, at all. It's just because we've got a lot more filler in the middle of the game that I think it feels longer, because there's not much going on, really. We have a fairly weak storyline, all things considered, and on top of that, we've got huge gaps between those middle gyms, and then everything all comes together at once. So it does feel a little bit awkward and a little bit stilted at times. But now we are out of the other end of Victory Road, and after picking up this final berry here, the Lumberry, we will make our way through the bin maze, and we have found ourselves in the Indigo Plateau, where we will say thank you to Kenya, to Paris, to Abra, to Diglett, and to Psyduck. You've all been a great help in this challenge. Get yourselves some well-deserved rest while our Sharpedo prepares to take on the Pokemon League. We will instantly use our rare candies. I will do this off camera. We have 9 rare candies in total, and we'll then take a look at our stats going into the league. And so we are level 58 with 172 HP. We're holding the black glasses with Crunch, Ice Beam, Surf, and Return. We've got 172 in HP, 171 in attack, 80 in defense, 141 in special attack, 72 in special defense, and 148 in speed. And so now we will make our way into our first league member. This is Lorelei. She is an Ice-type specialist, and she leads with Dugong. We're going to crunch the Dugong, we crit, and Surf doesn't do too much damage against us. She is healing, and we get a Spadef drop, so it's 2 shots on the Dugong. Cloyster's next. Cloyster has very low special defense, so it goes down in 1. She's got a Slowbro up after that. We can easily one-shot that. Here comes Jinx. I reckon you know another crunch, but seeing as it's the Psychic type, don't know what I was thinking about doing there. And our last Pokemon is Lapras. As long as we don't get parafused, I think we should be fine. Just like that, and we are through Lorelei. But she is the easy one in this league. And after a quick heal, we are going to hold on to probably a Citrus Berry for this battle. There's no sense in holding on to the black glasses for Bruno. He's our second league member. Fighting type specialist, so we do have the type weakness, but he leads with Onyx. We'll use Surf against the Onyx, we knock it out in 1. Here comes Hitmonchan. This Hitmonchan does not seem to have Muck Punch, so we're able to knock it out in a single hit, and Return does a lot of damage against the Hitmonlee. Unfortunately though, we take a lot of damage back via a Brick Break. We can 2-shot it. Here comes Machamp. Cross chop hits, so we take a reset. So at least this battle is simple. We need to crit the Hitmonchan and then hope we don't get hit by cross chop. We get crit ourselves there. It's been the story of this run, hasn't it? We have been getting unlucky critical hits for days here. Now this is just going to be a very RNG heavy battle. Sky Uppercut, that's even worse. Does Sky Uppercut have a chance to miss? I can't remember. Quite honestly, it's been a very long time since I've seen that move. We also could potentially have to play for the freeze on the Hitmonchan. That might end up being a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. You never know. Sky Uppercut hit again. So we take another blooming reset. This is not a nice battle for our Sharpedo. This is where being a glass cannon really does come into it. We have to throw the dice and hope that we get a little bit of luck like that. Now, can we get through this Hitmonchan? I should have been using Surf the entire time, apparently. That would have been a 2-shot. Here comes Hitmonlee again. Brick Break hits us very hard. We are just relying on Cross Chop missing. And just as I say the magic words, Cross Chop has missed. It's missed again. That is brilliant for us because that gives us a chance to get through the Machamp. We only have Onyx left to go. I think this is going to be a very easy end to the battle now. We are through Bruno, and we can move on to Agatha. Let us do a very quick heal here before we take on Agatha. I think at this point it would be a very good idea to use the elixir. Now, apologies if there are any hard cuts in these battles. My PC is going through all kinds of technical issues. It crashed in Victory Road, and now I am struggling to get OBS working properly at all. I'm doing my best to try and work through it, but it looks like I might be spending the next couple of days doing a little bit of maintenance and a little bit of troubleshooting on my PC. It's not been in a good way for a very long time, I've got to be honest. There are many bits and pieces that are falling apart. It's getting quite old now, so I'm hoping that I can do a little bit of maintenance to preserve its life a little bit longer. Now we are through all 3 of those league members. I've not been remembering to split because there have been plenty of other things on my mind during this Pokemon League, and we took no damage there actually from Agatha. And you know what, we'll hold on to the Max Elixir for after Lance. He is the liar, but without that many flyers in this generation, and I'm hoping that because we have Ice Beam, this should be a fairly trivial affair. Dragon Rage is probably going to be the move that does the most damage to us. How much do we do with Return against the Gyarados? It's much of a muchness. So I reckon we hold on to another Citrus Berry and we just keep throwing the dice here. This is Lance once again. Let's see how we do. Oh, of course we get intimidated, so that's why we weren't doing that much. And once again we get a same turn defrost. I really don't like that in Gen 3 they doubled the chance of defrosting. Thank goodness we got the Spadef drop there with Crunch. We can use Ice Beam against the Dragonair. It will go down in 1. Another Dragonair comes out, but this time we don't one-shot it. Goodness me. Thank goodness the Dragonite is quad weak to an Ice Beam. And yet again, we don't one-shot. Blummin' heck. That's terrifying. So we're just going to have to hope for even more luck in this Lance battle. It feels like we've hit Sharpedo's ceiling. It was bound to happen at some point. Dragon Rage is fairly meaningless there. On to the Dragonair we go. I wish we had access to the Nevmelt Ice. That would make this battle an awful lot easier. This time we seem to be doing a little bit better, and we one-shot the Dragonite. Onto the Scarodactyl we go. It does outspeed, but Surf knocks it out in 1, and we are through Lance. That means there is just one more battle left to go in this challenge. Let's do a quick heal and let's use that Max Elixir, and let's see how we get on against the rival. So deep breath, let's get ready for a war of attrition. We've still got the Citrus Berry. I reckon that's the best held item to have. He leads with Pidgeot. We'll use Ice Beam. It's not a one-shot, but Aerial Ace doesn't do too much, and he gets caught in a healing loop. I'd rather Aerial Ace over something like Sand Attack as well. Venusaur is second, and this is the one that we are slightly worried about, but he uses Solar Beam. Thank goodness Solar Beam is a terrible, terrible move. We'll crunch away the Alakazam, and up next is Rhydon. We can use Surf against the Rhydon. It goes away, and we will swap to Crunch for the Gyarados. We get another Spadef drop. We just have to hope that we can survive a few Dragon Rages here. Crunch is doing over half health now, so we get rid of it. The last Pokemon is Arcanine. He's probably going to go for Extreme Speed, or maybe not. He goes for Flamethrower, but he is healing looping. We are surviving. We high roll the next turn, and we defeat the champion in a time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 36 seconds. Oh, that was a little bit of a stressful challenge, but we made it through to the end. And should we now take a look at where we stand on our final leaderboard? And we are in first place on our FireRed leaderboard. However, that is not going to last for too long, because I have now released the Kyogre challenge. I didn't know when I did Kingdra whether Kyogre was going public. So Sharpedo is in second place overall, just behind Kyogre. But look at that, under a minute between them. We are doing very, very well for ourselves here in FireRed at the moment, setting PBs all the time, and we now have a complete first page after nearly 3 years of doing these videos. I will assure you that I'm going to try and get more FireRed videos out more consistently over the course of this year, but if you enjoyed this one, please do make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more videos just like this, click the subscribe button. If you want to see them a little bit early, you can always join the channel membership and become a HM friend. Of course, any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.